Hello again, everyone. Welcome to Washington Gun Law TV. I am Washington Gun Law President William Kirk. Thanks for joining us. Hey, Illinois, we're going to get to chat in just a second, but a quick reminder that this video is being brought to you by Sonoran Desert Institute. That's right. Get ready to launch your career in the firearm industry. Get ready to arm yourself with education and get ready to help defend the inalienable rights of millions of Americans. Sign up today at Sonoran Desert Institute. All the information down below in the description box. Okay, Illinois, like I said, we're going to talk. And what we're going to talk about is some of the reaction I got to this video right here. Because as we talked about, yes, there could be an injunction. And then is it possible that if all the stars lined up, you might be able to legally purchase one of these firearms? Now, it has a lot of people with varying opinions. I'm going to try to break down the law as I see it and with some caveats to it. So today, let's slow it all down for a few minutes and let's talk about what are the chances you can actually buy one of these soon in Illinois. Okay, so what we're talking about today, Illinois, are all of the challenges currently ongoing to the Protect Illinois Community Act going on in the United States District Court down in the Southern District of Illinois. If you geek out on this channel, if you geek out over at Freedom Steel, if you're watching Bishop on air, you will know that, hey, there is a high probability that an injunction could occur. That injunction likely would only last a very short period of time, unless, of course, and I don't think the court is looking for any advice. They certainly don't need any advice from us here at Washington Gun Law. But if the court wanted to know what day, I would like to see it dropped on. The Wednesday before Thanksgiving would be absolutely perfect. But be that as it may, we're taping this video today on Monday, October 21st. That is the day that all of the briefs have been done. It is currently about 4 p.m. out here on the West Coast. What I understand is that the state has turned in 3,500 pages. Apparently the brief's about 150 pages and the rest of it's exhibits and things like that because this issue just has not been briefed and argued and litigated enough. Now, the other two, there are a couple of other briefs that are going to come in on behalf of the actual plaintiffs here. Everything is due before midnight, so we'll probably be doing a follow-up video in the next couple days, Illinois, and kind of getting you locked in on what the closing arguments were. But let's get to the point where we may actually have a ruling. And yes, we do here at Washington Gun Law believe that the ruling will in fact be positive, and yes, there will be an injunction. And I understand that the state of Illinois is already asking in their brief, if there is an injunction, go ahead and stay it because we want to appeal. So I think they're planning for this as well. Now, if you wanted to actually try to purchase what the state of Illinois defines as an assault weapon, I get it's a made-up term. We're talking about predominantly semi-automatic rifles, but there are some pistols and shotguns that also fall under the purview of this law. Is it possible that an FFL could lawfully sell it to you if all the stars lined up correctly? My opinion is yes, it is. But before I go there, I want to give a caveat, okay? Even if it is absolutely legally possible, the window of time is going to be very, very short, and there will be some people inevitably that will be screwed over by the timeline and left with nothing to show for it, okay? And for that reason, there may be some FFLs in the state of Illinois that either have not prepared for it from an inventory standpoint or candidly just don't want to stick their neck out and deal with it. And this is what I'm asking from all of you out there in Illinois, okay? If an FFL has decided to run their business that way, respect their decision. Respect their decision. I don't want to get a call from somebody out in Illinois saying a bunch of people were coming into the shop being dicks, saying that the attorney out in Washington said they could do it, because every company has the right to run its business exactly the way they want to. It is a free country after all. So politely say, I wish you were, or something like that, and then go find an FFL that can help you. Just because that one doesn't want to or was not willing to risk it does not mean there won't be others that can help you. Okay, that is the big thing. I do not want to hear any phone calls. I don't want to be looking at my message board and seeing all these FFLs saying you guys are being a bunch of jackasses to them out there if they're not doing this. Okay, now, here's why I think it's possible. You got to actually look at the law. And I did have another FFL out in the state of Illinois send me what he believed was his interpretation of law. And it was, okay, it was all right. But I actually went and did it myself. So here's what I want you to understand, Illinois, is that in the Washington state assault weapon ban, a FFL cannot sell offer for sale, manufacture, or distribute an assault weapon. So the mere act of offering for sale an assault weapon in Washington State would in and of itself be a violation of the law. Now, when I take a look at your PICA, your Illinois Protected Illinois Communities Act, 720 ILCS Section 524, okay. What your statute does is it prohibits the sale of an assault weapon, okay? It does not prohibit the offer for sales. So, if you found an FFL that was comfortable talking to you about this, you could actually have a conversation about purchasing a particular firearm, a particular item that might right now be unlawful to purchase, okay? Because the offer for sale under the Protect Illinois Communities Act is not unlawful. Now, here's the other thing. What actually constitutes a sale? Because the only way on God's green earth you could do this legally, and I can assure you that the FFLs that are willing to do this are only going to do it legally. They're not going to be sticking their neck out. So if you miss the deadline by 2 minutes, you're going to be out of luck here, okay? And this is what I'm advising all the FFLs. If you're going to do it by the book. And that book may be a very short book here, all right? But understand this. You're going to need to have already gone through a background check. Now, a background check is good for 30 days. So theoretically, if you went and got a background check here sometime later this week, it's going to be good up until around Thanksgiving, okay? Secondly, you have a waiting period, okay? And this is where things can get real tricky because depending on the length of your waiting period, which I think is a minimum of 3 days there, and when this ruling comes out, yeah, there might be an injunction, okay? There might be an injunction, but does the injunction still exist at the time that you take possession of the firearm? And that ultimately is the important thing because what really constitutes a sale in the state of Illinois is actually defined by law. It's not defined in the Protect Illinois Communities Act. The only thing they define in there actually is just some of the components and things like that they're banning. No, instead, it's found in 35 ILCS section 120-1, an entirely separate section, and this is how sale is defined in Illinois. Sale at retail means any transfer of the ownership of or title to tangible personal property to a purchaser for the purpose of use or consumption and not for the purpose of resale in any form as tangible personal property to the extent not first subjected to a use for which it was purchased for a valuable consideration. Which is lawyer way of saying, listen, a sale does not occur until the purchaser takes possession of the item and the seller has received the consideration, or what we like to call money, okay? And since this is only for then, as they put it here, tangible personal property to a purchaser for the purpose of use or consumption, what they're basically selling is that is a retail sale to an end-use consumer who's going to take it home and use the item, which is every single one of you. So theoretically, the sale of an assault weapon would not occur until you go back into the FFL to actually take the item home. You actually sign this little section right here on the 4473. That is the date of transfer, okay? That would have to occur during that injunctive period. If it happens before, it's against the law. If there is an injunction and then the injunction is stayed and it happens after the stay has been placed on it, that's against the law. And there's no FFL in the state of Illinois that's going to risk their entire license and livelihood for one single transfer. So with all of that in mind, to both the consumers and the potential sellers, the FFLs in Illinois, there is nothing, as I see it in your law, that prohibits you discussing the sale of these prohibited firearms. There is nothing in this law that prohibits you from doing all of the necessary paperwork to consummate the sale of one of these items. However, if there is an injunction, the transfer, the actual sale itself of the person taking possession of that firearm has to absolutely positively occur inside that injunctive period. Otherwise, you will be in violation, as will the consumer, of Illinois state law. Now, whether or not FFLs can piece that together and get all of those stars to align, whether or not they have the willingness to actually assume the risk to do so, that's an individual decision that every single one of them is entitled to make. I ask everyone in Illinois, let's work together. If there are people who just do not want to risk it, leave them alone and go find some other people who might be able to assist you. Listen, we're going to go ahead and link up all the statutes down below, Illinois, so you can geek out on it for yourself. If you got any questions about this or anything else, you guys should know how to get a hold of Washington gun law by now. If you don't, all of that information is down there in the description box. If you got an idea for a video we should be doing around here, great. Tell us all about it. Hit that link right there. Let us know. It's probably going to be better than any idea we come up with. If all you want to do is just subscribe to our monthly newsletter, hey, you could have skipped down to the description box and done that already. And then finally, and most importantly, let's everyone remember that part of being the lawful and responsible gun owner, like we talk about all the time here, is to know what the law is in every situation and how it applies to you in any instance that you may find yourself. Until next time, thanks for watching and stay safe.